robbery spree that leads police all over the valley, followed by a high-speed car chase through the streets. Find out how police finally cornered a suspected robber on the run.
This is News 3 at Sunrise.
And welcome to News 3 Sunrise. I'm Chera.
And I'm Klein. It's Sunday, February 11th. Thanks for joining us.
One man takes police on a wild ride. First a crime spree, then a high-speed chase through our valley streets.
This morning, folks are breathing a sigh of relief now that 31-year-old Robert Crawford is in police custody. Police say he's the man who led them on a high-speed chase last night around 7 o'clock after committing a string of robberies. Here's what happened last night. Police say the man robbed another man at an ATM on Rancho in Ernest May. Then an hour later, he reportedly snatched a woman's purse at Westcliff and Rainbow. Not long after that, police began chasing him, starting at LaSalle and Bartlett and ending in a crash at the intersection of Rancho and Cheyenne. Rebecca Klein was at the scene. She has more on last night's crime spree.
This mangled mess is the forced halt to a police chase.
And the cops T-boned him.
It took two cruisers ramming into either side of this Cadillac to get the driver to stop.
I mean, it was just madhouse.
This man eventually showed up, identifying the driver is the same man who robbed him earlier and gave him a black eye.
I was taking money from the ATM and he hit me. I fell to the ground, he took my money and he left.
But there's still much more to this story, especially when you hear the course this chase took before it came to an end.
Just got whacked, this guy trying to get by us.
So did an officer and two other drivers.
And I looked in my rear view, and they had this guy in the Cadillac pinned, and cops were out and had their guns pointed at him, and then somehow he got his Cadillac from off the curb and off another car, just came across, smashed in the back of my pickup, sideswiped another car, hit another car, and then cops came through the intersection and got him stopped right there and dragged him out of the car. And
as for seeing the suspect here face to face,
I was just pleased he was caught because apparently he was doing it all over town.
we are told the suspect, 31-year-old Robert Crawford, faces 4 felony charges, including driving a stolen car. Reporting for the News at Sunrise, I'm Rebecca Klein.
2 police officers suffered minor injuries in this case, and another person was taken to UMC also with minor injuries.
Las Vegas police this morning are also searching for a second person involved in a deadly shooting at a mobile home park. Officers were called to a home inside the Desert Inn Mobile Estates around 5:30 on Friday evening. They found 1 man dead, another seriously injured. 2 women and a small child were also inside the home. They were unharmed. 23-year-old Christopher Thomas was taken into custody that same night. Police are still looking for the other suspect, 24-year-old Stephen Gill, who is 24-year-old Stephen Gill. Folks in the area say they're terrified by what's happening in their own neighborhood.
I think it's time to move. It could happen anywhere, but it's just a little too close to home. My kids are out here every day playing. Thank God they weren't yesterday.
You know, you get a bad reputation for trailer trash, and these are mobile homes, and we're all nice families in here.
Police are asking for your help in finding the other suspects in this deadly shooting. If you have any information, you are asked to call Secret Witness. The number is at the bottom of your screen at 385-5555.
An update this morning on a story News 3 first brought you back in November. A parent has just been arrested for poisoning 8 players on his son's football team. 40-year-old Jerome Breland is facing charges of performing an act in willful disregard for safety. Police believe he poured Epicac syrup in the 49ers water jug to allegedly get back at a boy he had been teasing his son. Police say it appears he was only trying to get 1 boy sick, but the plan got out of control. 8 players were taken to UMC and treated. All players are okay. Breland will go to court on Wednesday. Prosecutors expect him to plead guilty.
Jurors in the Jessica Williams trial are staying in a hotel this weekend, secluded from any discussion about the case. Meanwhile, some of the victims' family members got together to remember one victim in particular.
I wanted to celebrate it for her, you know. I'm doing this for Melina. This is her day. And having her friends here and the families of the other victims, it helps, yeah.
Friends and family members got together to wish Melina Stoltfoots a happy birthday. She would have been 16 yesterday. She was one of the 6 teens killed while picking up trash along I-15 last year. The special birthday memorial was held at Sunset Park, where a number of trees have already been dedicated to other DUI victims. Keep it here on News 3. We will have continuing coverage of the Williams trial. We could see a verdict by the end of next week, possibly even Wednesday.
A scene that frightened a Valley family in October is now back to haunt them. You may remember this incident. Gasoline somehow ignited inside a garage on Gunderson Street, causing an explosion. Pretty much everything in the home, as you can see by the video on your screen, was destroyed. And now, just as the family was in the process of rebuilding, they have to start all over again. Here's why. Early Saturday morning, the new house, still under construction, also went up in flames. Firefighters have very little information on what caused the second fire. However, they say it does look suspicious. The fire was put out pretty quickly, but the house was heavily damaged. Meanwhile, an early morning fire in the Philippines destroyed 1,500 homes, leaving 5,000 people homeless. The fire broke out just before dawn in Manila. Take a look at the flames. It spread quickly, wiping out more than 1,000 wooden shacks. Firefighters had trouble getting the fire because of the narrow streets blocking the personal belongings of the residents. Officials had to convince some 50 residents to demolish their own shacks to prevent the fire from spreading. So far, at least 9 people have been injured. Officials are still looking into what caused that blaze.
Your friends and family in California may be feeling a little shaken up after a 5.1 earthquake rocked the southern half of the state yesterday. The quake was centered in the San Bernardino Mountains, about 4 miles northwest of Big Bear Lake. No major damage or injuries were reported. However, the quake was strong enough to be felt 100 miles away in Los Angeles, as well as San Diego, and had many Southern Californians on edge. More than 3 hours before that quake, the Palm Springs area felt a smaller earthquake of a magnitude of 3.9.
Convicted Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh says he wants his execution broadcast publicly on live TV. McVeigh made the request in a letter published by the Sunday Oklahoman. The letter says, quote, "A reasonable solution seems obvious. Hold a true public execution. Allow a public broadcast." Close to 250 people who either survived or lost family members in the 1995 bombing have asked to see McVeigh's execution. However, there are only 8 seats available for personal witness in that execution. Federal prison officials are considering a closed-circuit broadcast to accommodate survivors and relatives of victims. But a Bureau spokesman says a national broadcast won't happen. The execution is set for May 16th.
The search continues this morning for 9 missing Japanese passengers of a fishing boat that was struck and sank by a surfacing U.S. Marine off of the coast of Hawaii on Friday. So far, the Coast Guard has only found some debris, such as life vests and rafts from the sunken ship. Still missing are 4 17-year-old students, 2 teachers, and 3 crew members. The water temperature is around 77 degrees, so there is a chance that there are still survivors. This accident occurred when a Navy submarine practicing a fast surface maneuver crashed into the Japanese boat carrying 35 people. 26 of the boat's passengers and crews have been rescued. So far, a broken collarbone is the most serious injury.
If you're one of the thousands of music downloaders faithful to Napster, you better log on quick, because this weekend could be the company's last weekend. A federal appeals court in San Francisco could decide Monday whether to shut down the music sharing experience. The recording industry filed a suit last July against Napster. They say Napster violates copyright laws by enabling users to enhance music for free. A lower court issued an injunction against the company, but an appeals court reversed that, keeping the site open while they reviewed the case.
Ooh, close that. There's going to be some people that aren't happy.
No, I haven't experienced Napster, but I know a lot of fans out there.
Oh, yeah.
On. Well, you know, Valentine's Day,
right
Wednesday,
around the corner.
And
yes.
if you haven't gotten a gift, wake up and check this out. Look at this, what we got over here.
It's very pretty. I even asked Ben if I could keep one.
It's velvet. It's from Ethel M. Chocolate.
Nice.
We've got 2 of these. We're going to be giving them away. Take a look at this. Kind of open this up. There we go.
Yummy, yummy chocolates.
Lots of chocolates. We're going to be giving these away later in the show, not earlier. so stay tuned.
Right.
We're going to put up a number.
We'll give you the number a little bit later on so you can call in and win this for your sweetie.
Thank you, FLM.
Yes.
Well, sleep, it's something most of us don't get enough of. No, my bad. We're going outside.
We don't. We are going outside, but hey, we don't get enough sleep as it is. 9:09 is the time right now, and we're going to look at your 6:09. Oh my goodness.
Sleep.
Temperature 39 degrees. See, sleep deprived. Dew point 26. Humidity 59%. Winds out at the south at 14 miles per hour. Yes, they are picking up again. You can see our camera rocking. And that barometer is 29.92 and rising.
Checking out today's forecast. Windy. Southwest winds 25 miles per hour, high 52, low 37. You know, we're just getting into this thing. You know, we have a little bumpy rise, but
we do.
We're having fun.
Now let's talk about sleep.
Let's talk about sleep. It's something most of us don't get enough of. With family, work, sometimes it's just too much. We'll have some tips for putting energy back into your life.
And parents, you know how much your kids hate getting shots because they're usually afraid of those needles. Well, now there actually may be a new way to get vaccinations without fear and without needles. We'll tell you all about that next, right here on News 3, where news comes first.
You're watching Southern Nevada's #1 choice for news. This is News 3 at Sunrise.
Welcome back. Time now is 6:12. Do you find yourself yawning in the afternoons? If so, there is a good chance you're one of the millions of overtired and overworked people giving up sleep in order to fit everything into the busy day. In this morning's Sunrise Health, Beth Fisher looks at how you can cope.
Gina Addis's day starts before dawn.
Come on, Phoebe.
She has plenty of work to do before heading off to her paid job.
Oh, you are not wearing those shoes.
Like a lot of parents, Gina is exhausted. 6 hours of sleep isn't cutting it.
It shows on my face. There's not enough concealer that can go under my eyes on a bad day.
Sleepy parents are walking zombies.
Sleep guru Dr. James Moss believes too many parents are burning the candle at both ends and burning themselves out.
The problem is, on 6 hours of sleep, we get irritable, we get anxious, and we become exhausted, upset parents.
Some days I can't think. Sat in the meeting and I wanted to like bang my head.
So how can you fight the fatigue when getting 8 hours of sleep is impossible?
You get a nice burst of energy.
That great energy kick, caffeine. While the chemical has its share of critics, some sleep experts say when you need a boost, go for it. Tired mom Jill Madigan counts on it.
I start out with a cup of coffee at home, and I'll usually have some more caffeine during the day, like one can of Diet Coke.
Another recommendation, choose high-protein foods like low-fat yogurt, lean meat, and fish. Research shows they release tyrosine, a substance that may improve mental alertness. Then there's exercise.
I love going to the gym. I know it's a pick-me-upper.
Finishing out the list, the 15-minute power nap.
That nap will help pay back some of the sleep debt in your sleep debt bank account.
And Dr. Moss says you need time before you hit the sack, or the hours you do spend in slumber will be restless. But for parents like Gina Addis, relaxation time and sleep are all she can sacrifice.
I'll probably be tired, you know, for the next 10, 15 years.
Beth Fisher, News 3.
And Las Vegas Dr. Eric Toder emphasizes the good old power nap, which you just heard about. He says not getting enough sleep can impact our quality of health and predispose us to developing more severe medical problems. If you want to know more about this story, all you have to do is log on to KVBC.com and click on the Know More icon. Well, with a quick shot in the arm, you can gain lifetime protection against many diseases. Unfortunately, most vaccines are delivered by a painful injection.
Because I can't take them getting shots like that. I just can't watch. But they have to have it.
A tiny piece of plastic may soon replace vaccinations. A special patch sits on the skin. It's loaded with medicine and loaded with bacteria which attract immune system cells underneath the skin. The immune cells grab onto the medicine and deliver it into the bloodstream. The patch vaccination is still in the testing phases. Researchers are also investigating vaccines that can be inhaled or even implanted in bananas or potatoes. Parents, good news this morning, which could keep your child from spending more time at the pediatrician for ear infections. A new study shows children who get the pneumococcal vaccine will have fewer earaches. Researchers have found the number of kids who get ear infections were cut in half because the vaccine can cover 7 strains of bacteria which cause the infections. The immunization was approved last year for children under 2. It fights the bacteria that causes pneumococcal diseases, which, coupled with ear problems, can cause pneumonia, cystinitis, and bacterial meningitis. Ben?
Chera, every year 37 million Americans develop sinusitis, and millions of them head straight to their doctor for more antibiotics. But you may be taking the wrong approach. What many people don't realize is sinusitis can be caused by either a virus or bacteria, but antibiotics only work against bacteria. If you think you're developing sinusitis, take decongestants. Don't take antihistamines. They only thicken the mucus that clog you up. Use a humidifier or take steam baths to clear your nasal passage, and use a plain saline spray several times a day. It will not only help you breathe more easily, but it will clear mucus that could harbor some of that infection-causing bacteria.
So many hard hits on the field in last night's XFL game, which was very good, by the way. It seems like half the players got carried off on stretchers.
We'll have all the highlights from those games coming up in sports. Then it's the Legal Edge.
I'm attorney Mike Bryant. If you've got children under the age of 18, those children also have a third parent, and this one's wearing a black robe. We'll talk about it on the Legal Edge.
Salmon tartare on a vanilla oil topped with papaya sesame seaweeds.
What? That's it? The bean don't eat no snooty food. I'm going to the surf buffet for some real food. Oh, it's a surf buffet. Now that's more like it.
Can't get enough, not at the Surf Buffet, where it's 24 hours of incredible food.
Hey, you'll never go hungry at the surf buffet.
Flooding and ice are making getting around in Michigan pretty tough this weekend. Warm temperatures melted much of the snow on the ground in southeast Michigan, causing rivers to overflow and roads and yards to flood. Then temperatures dropped yesterday, turning some of the water into ice and creating slippery driving conditions. Several main roads have been closed. Many homes and businesses are flooded because all the storm drains are full.
Ooh, not fun.
Yeah.
The snow's fun. The draining afterwards,
and then the temperatures get cold. That's when you start slipping and sliding.
We do not have this problem.
No, but look at the sun rising over the beautiful mountains.
That is pretty. Right now we got clear conditions. Temperature 39 degrees, dew point 26, humidity 59%, and those winds are starting to pick up once again. They're out at the south this morning at 14 miles per hour, and that barometer is 29.92 and rising.
For more on your forecast, today, windy, highs, southwest winds 25 miles per hour, high 52, low 37. And for more on Sunday's forecast, let's go to Rachel Boesing. Good morning, Rachel.
And a good Sunday morning to you. As you can see, the frontal boundary that brought lots of rain to the entire eastern seaboard is out of here, and actually where the bulk of the activity will be today will be out here on the west coast. That's thanks to some systems getting ready to push on shore. Now, in association with that frontal boundary that's kind of tapered off, we can see lots of the rain has tapered off in the past few hours, and that's good news for the eastern seaboard. However, as you can see, we are getting an onshore flow here, and we are seeing some rain take place here in California and then also in the higher elevations of the Silver State. If we check out the Doppler radar here in the west, you can see exactly what I'm talking about in terms of precipitation. Rain in California, pretty much the northern portion of California, and as it moves on into the Silver State, snowfall in the higher elevations. And here in Clark County, we could potentially see some showers late this evening, but as the low starts to barrel on down the coastline and starts to eject inland and eastward, we are going to see the chances of rain increase. As you can see, one low pressure system out of here, the second one sliding down the coastline. The approaching low will affect our weather today, and then in the next several days we're going to see some showers thanks to the moisture associated with that low and another disturbance that will push on shore as well. As for our forecast today, we're looking for a high today of 52 degrees, increasing clouds, breezy conditions, winds out of the southwest at about 25 miles per hour. That's actually the high end, but It means it's going to be fairly breezy, and you should probably use a lot of hairspray. Over the next several days, here's what you can expect weather-wise. It doesn't look too nice. Actually, after today, we're looking at chances of showers on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and we could possibly even see some of that rain on Wednesday turn into snow. Yes, we'll stay on top of that. We're looking for a high on Wednesday of 50, a high on Thursday of 52 degrees. All these temperatures well below normal for this time of year. We should be in the low 60s, and as you can see, we're not going to see that for quite some time. Back to you two.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yes, well, if you didn't catch last night's XFL game, you missed quite a game.
Indeed you did. The showdown between LA and Chicago went into double overtime.
Double overtime. Wow.
I know. Rick Strasser has all the highlights, plus some Runnin' Rebel hoop action right here on your Sunrise Sports.
Good morning. Less than a month ago, the Runnin' Rebels traveled to Provo to face BYU. They left with their tails between their legs. A 28-point defeat, an embarrassing loss on national television, disharmony amongst the players. Well, that was almost a month ago. Yesterday, a chance for redemption at the Thomas & Mack Center. Kaskambala only had 2 points in that first meeting yesterday. Different. He had 13. Rebels trailed by 16 in the first half. Cut it to 2 at the break. Then this 3 by Trevor Diggs gave them the first lead to 6-4. 45-42. Later, Danny Brotherson drives, dishes out to Dalron Johnson, drains the jumper. UNLV by 6. Huge game for freshman LaFonte Johnson. He had a career and game-high 17 points. BYU still scratching. Terrell Lede takes the pass inside, goes up for the tough deuce, plus the foul. 3-point play pulls the Cougs within 5, but UNLV was too much. Sylvester Dotson cleans up the O-board and the putback. The Rebels win a big one. 68-56 is the final. The Rebels are now just 1 game out of first in the Mountain West. Yesterday it came down to LaFonte, the little guy, coming up big.
I knew I can do it all along. I just, I just needed this. I needed this, come out party and a big game for me to get my confidence back the way it was. So I think that's what it was today.
LaFonte's got it in him. He struggled a little bit this year, but we all have at times. And so he came out and he played good tonight.
He was an X factor on their team. He came up with some big shots in the first half, and I think he really got him back into the game.
Well, the Outlaws are walking in Memphis right now. They will face the Maniacs today from the Liberty Bowl, but last night they had a chance to watch next week's opponent, the LA Extreme, and their home opener against Chicago. This was a wild game seen yesterday here on Channel 3. Late in the fourth, Extreme down by a couple scores. Tommy Maddox will find Damon Dunn in the end zone, who's plastered, but holds on for the score. We'd have overtime. Chicago in the extra session. Tim Lester looks, eludes the rush, eludes another rush, then fires into the end zone and finds John Avery for the score. Now with XFL rules, the enforcers did it in 3 plays, so LA had to as well. On the final play, Maddox lost one into the end zone. Great catch by Jermaine Copeland. LA would tie it with an extra point, and in the second overtime, they would win it. 39-32, the thrilling final. To Orlando for the Rage hosting San Francisco. Gotta love those XFL fans. The Rage down 7-0 until this. Jeff Brom, 49 yards to Mario Bailey, who takes it in for the score with a little help. Now watch the possibly touchdown-saving hit on this punt return. Orlando's Shannon Culver taken down by Orlando's Bill Duff. Hey, Bill, hit the guys in the white jerseys, okay? Later in the second, Brian Shaw takes the inside handoff, and the smallest guy on the roster has the inside track to the end zone. Rage remains unbeaten. 26-14 is the final. Later today over Cashman Field, we got the semis and the finals of the Big League Challenge. Todd Helton of the Rockies will face Jose Canseco, who is last year's winner. And Rafael Palmeiro of the Rangers will face Mike Piazza in the other semifinal. The winners will face off, and we will have highlights of that one coming up at 6 o'clock. That'll do it for now. Join me for sports on News 3 at 6. I'll have an update on how the Outlaws are doing in Memphis. In the meantime, enjoy the NBA All-Star Game today on Channel 3 at 3 o'clock. I'm Rick Strasser. Have a great sports Sunday.
And speaking of more sports, look at the lineup. There are tons of things going on today. Starting at 9 a.m., it is a Tamba Tour skiing. At 10, it's NBC Sports Special, Adventure Odyssey. Then at 11, the NBA All-Star Special. At noon, it's the World Alpine Skiing Championships. At 3 o'clock, the All-Star pregame. And at 3:30, the All-Star game begins.
Mom and Dad, the law says you're responsible for many things when it comes to your children, but attorney Mike Bryan wants you to know that if your child suffers an injury, the court is also there to give them the legal edge.
Your child's been injured in a car accident, and it is the other driver's fault. But your youngster, if under the age of 18, is too young to go to court. So, Mom and Dad, the judge is going to protect Junior's interests. Here's how it works. Little Debbie breaks an arm.
My name is not Debbie!
Whatever. The other guy or his insurance company wants to make things right, so an offer to settle the claim will be made. Even if the deal looks good to you parent types, that's not good enough. You need to get the court's okay. The court wants to make sure your little princess or prince isn't getting cheated, because once the deal is done, your little one can't go back to the court for any help, any money, for anything, ever. Handling a minor's claim. Mom and Dad, you bring the action to court for your kid, but the court steps in as another parent to make sure the child is protected. The judge has to be convinced that the amount paid will cover all future medical care or other needs. That means checking out doctor's reports, future treatment, and any long-term problems like scarring or physical handicap. The court also gets to decide what you folks do with any money, and that normally means that the money's put in a special bank account until your little one reaches a certain age, like 18 or 21. By acting as a third parent, the court gives your child the legal edge.
Good night, son.
Good night, son.
Good night, son. I'm attorney Michael James Bryant.
If you have comments or questions for Mike, check out The Legal Edge online at www.thelegaledge.com.
As our valley grows, our need for teachers also grow, but can school officials lure teachers to Las Vegas?
News 3's Kendall Tenney digs deeper as a teacher for a day. Coming up on News 3, where news comes first. A Valley man robbed an ATM, just the beginning of a crime spree and police chase that ended with a bang.
This is News 3 at Sunrise.
Welcome to News 3 Sunrise. I'm Chera, Kimiko.
And I'm Ben Correa. It's Sunday. Thanks so much for joining us. One man takes police on a wild ride. First a crime spree, then a high-speed chase through our valley streets.
This morning, folks are breathing a sigh of relief now that 31-year-old Robert Crawford is in police custody. Police say he's the man who led them on a high-speed chase after committing a string of robberies. Now, here's what happened. Last night, police say the man robbed another man at an ATM on Rancho and Ernest Way. Then an hour later, he reportedly snatched a woman's purse at Westcliff and Rainbow. Not long after that, police began chasing him, and that's when it started at LaSalle and Bartlett. It ended at a crash at the intersection of Rancho and Cheyenne. Rebecca Klein was at the scene. She has more on last night's crime spree.
This mangled mess is the forced halt to a police chase.
And the cops T-boned him.
It took two cruisers ramming into either side of this Cadillac to get the driver to stop.
I mean, it was just madhouse.
This man eventually showed up, identifying the driver is the same man who robbed him earlier and gave him a black eye.
I was taking money from the ATM and he hit me. I fell to the ground. He took my money and he left.
But there's still much more to this story, especially when you hear the course this chase took before it came to an end.
Just got whacked, this guy trying to get by us.
So did an officer and two other drivers.
And I looked in my rear view, and they had this guy in the Cadillac pinned, and cops were out and had their guns pointed at him, and then somehow he got his Cadillac from off the curb and off another car, just came across, smashed in the back of my pickup, sideswiped another car, hit another car, and then cops came through the intersection and got him stopped right there and dragged him out of the car. And
as for seeing the suspect here face to face,
I was just pleased he was caught because apparently he was doing it all over town.
we are told the suspect, 31-year-old Robert Crawford, faces 4 felony charges, including driving a stolen car. Reporting for the News at Sunrise, I'm Rebecca Klein.
Thank you, Rebecca. 2 police officers suffered minor injuries in this chase, and another person was taken to UMC also with minor injuries.
Las Vegas police are also searching for a second suspect involved in a deadly shooting at a mobile home park. Authorities were called to a home inside the Desert Inn Mobile Estates around 5:30 on Friday. They found one man dead and others seriously injured. 2 women and a small child were also inside the home. They were unharmed. 23-year-old Christopher Thomas was taken into custody that same night. Police are still looking for another suspect, 24-year-old Stephen Gill. Folks in the area say they're terrified about what's happening in their own neighborhood.
I think it's time to move. It could happen anywhere, but it's just a little too close to home. My kids are out here every day playing. Thank God they weren't yesterday.
You know, you get a bad reputation for trailer trash, and these are mobile homes, and we're all nice families in here.
Police are asking for your help in finding the other suspect in this deadly shooting. If you have any information, please call the number on the bottom of your screen, Secret Witness 385-5555.
An update this morning on a story News 3 first brought you back in November. A parent has just been arrested for poisoning 8 players of his son's football team. 40-year-old Jerome Breland is now facing charges of performing an act in willful disregard for safety. Police believe he poured ipecac syrup in the 49ers water jug to allegedly get back at a boy who has been teasing his son. Police say it appears he was only trying to get one boy sick, but the plan got out of control. 8 players were taken to UMC and treated. All players to date are fine. Breland will go to court on Wednesday. Prosecutors say they expect him to plead guilty.
A tragic fire on the east side of town this morning. Just before 3 a.m., police arrived at this house on Annie Oakley. You can see some of those flames and smoke. Inside, they found the body of a 62-year-old man. Firefighters say the man lived there with his daughter. She was okay. The house was totally destroyed. This is the second deadly fire in less than 7 days. Earlier this week, a fire at Casa Vegas condos on Vegas Valley in Maryland killed one man who was trapped in an upstairs apartment.
A scene that frightened a Valley family in October is now back to haunt them once again. You may remember this incident. Gasoline somehow ignited inside a garage on Gunderson Street, causing a humongous explosion. Pretty much everything in the home was destroyed, and now, just as the family was in the process of rebuilding, they have to start all over again. That is because early Saturday morning, the new house, which was still under construction, also went up in flames. Firefighters have very little information on what caused the second fire. However, they say it does indeed look suspicious. The fire was put out pretty quickly, but the house was heavily damaged. Meanwhile, an early morning fire in the Philippines destroyed 1,500 homes, leaving 5,000 people homeless. This fire broke out just before dawn in Manila. It spread quickly, wiping out more than 1,000 wooden shacks. Firefighters had trouble getting to the fire because of the narrow streets that block in personal belongings of the residents. Officials actually had to convince some 50 residents to demolish their own shacks to prevent the fire from spreading. So far, at least 9 people have been injured. Officials are still looking into what caused this blaze.
Your friends and family in California may be feeling a little shaken up after a 5.1 earthquake rocked the southern half of the state yesterday. The quake was centered in the San Bernardino Mountains, about 4 miles northwest of Big Bear Lake. No major damage or injuries were reported. However, the quake was strong enough to be felt 100 miles away in Los Angeles and San Diego and had many Southern Californians on edge. More than 3 hours before that quake, the Palm Springs area felt a smaller earthquake of magnitude 3.9.
Convicted Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh says he wants his execution broadcast publicly on live TV. McVeigh made the request in a letter published by the Sunday Oklahoman. The letter says, quote, "A reasonable solution seems obvious. Hold the true public execution. Allow a public broadcast," end quote. Close to 250 people who either suffered or lost family members in the 1995 bombing have asked to see McVeigh's execution. However, there are only 8 seats available for personal witnesses in this execution. Federal prison officials are considering a closed circuit broadcast to accommodate survivors of relatives of those victims. But a bureau spokesman says a national broadcast will not happen. This execution is now set for May 16th.
The search continues for the 9 missing Japanese passengers of a fishing boat that was struck and sunk by a surfacing U.S. submarine off the coast of Hawaii on Friday. So far, the Coast Guard has only found some debris such as life vests and rafts from the sunken ship. Still missing are 4 17-year-old students, 2 teachers, and 3 crew members. The water temperature is around 77 degrees, so there is a chance that there are still some survivors. The accident occurred when a Navy submarine practicing a fast surfacing maneuver crashed into the Japanese boat carrying 35 people. 26 of the boat's passengers and crew have been rescued. So far, a broken collarbone is the most serious injury.
If you are one of the thousands of music downloading fans faithful to Napster, you better log on quick. This could be the company's last weekend. A federal appeals court in San Francisco could decide Monday to shut down the music sharing service. The recording industry filed a suit last July against Napster. They say it violates copyright laws by enabling users to exchange music for free. A lower court issued an injunction against the company, but an appeals court reversed that, keeping the sign open while they reviewed the case.
1,500 new teachers, that's what it will take to keep the Clark County School District running, just to keep up with the growth and number of teachers leaving the profession. Finding a good teacher is a difficult task because teaching is a difficult job. Kendall Tenney learned that lesson the hard way as he experienced being a teacher for a day.
The purpose is to make them aware of their communication strengths and weaknesses.
Before temporarily taking Mrs. Lawrence's schedule, I spent a day watching and learning as I took a crash course in teaching.
With the class, you're going to go ahead and read Act 1, Scene 5.
The next day, it was time for me to take the helm. I arrived at 7 a.m. and continued preparations for the day.
Mr. Tenney is teaching.
You're teaching? I'd crammed for this challenge the night before and continued to brush up on Shakespeare and other subjects we'd be covering that day. Soon, students were filing in, and my courage was checking out. I was starting to feel a little pressure about this.
What do I do with this?
It didn't take long, though, before I felt a little more comfortable in my new role.
Yes, Quality Shop is capitalized because that is the name of the hamburger joint or restaurant.
And some students felt very comfortable with me and a camera in their classroom.
The fact that they're dozing isn't necessarily a reflection on you, but you need to deal with it.
After a couple of classes and at my request, Mrs. Lawrence offered some suggestions for me.
You lost your sense of time, especially the third period. Timing is important, and maybe skipping something because you have to get on to something else, knowing how to do that. That just takes experience.
Not sure how that works.
Soon it was on to Hamlet and another class. And then the final class of the day, where we studied the play 12 Angry Men.
When you see that room, what do you think?
My day had come to an end, but as Mrs. Lawrence explained, her normal day is much longer than the one I'd just experienced.
I'm up at 5, and finally I quit around 6.
And this isn't just a 5-day-a-week job.
Probably 4 hours on Saturday and 4 hours on Sunday.
And of course you're paid handsomely for this.
I am paid for this.
Kendall Tenney, News 3.
Kudos to teachers around the valley and across the nation. Difficult job, and I'm sure they do a great job. Teachers will get some extra money this year if Governor Gwynn's budget is approved. The governor is proposing a one-time 5% cash bonus for teachers, but is not offering a pay raise.
They work so hard.
They do, and they do a great job. Well, people refer to him simply as Stony, but there's a whole story behind the name. In celebration of Black History Month, we'll introduce you to this well-respected Clark County man.
And 3 days left until the big Valentine's Day, and if you have not already found a perfect gift for that special someone, help is indeed on the way. That's next on News 3, where news comes first.
You're watching Southern Nevada's #1 choice for news. This is News 3 at Sunrise.
Good Sunday morning to you, 6:45. He grew up as an orphan and became one of the most respected men at the Clark County Courthouse. Throughout February, News 3 will celebrate Black History Month with stories of Las Vegans who have made a difference. This morning, Denise Rosch introduces us to a man most people refer to simply as Stony.
Thank you. Please be seated.
The start of another day in District Court Department 5.
Let's have it quiet, please.
Something new to many of the men and women now dressed in jailhouse blues. But behind the judge, Senior Bailiff James Stony Jackson is at ease.
When we play cops and robbers, I was always the cop.
For well over 40 years, Jackson has worn a badge.
That's me right there when I was about 19.
His career began in Amarillo, Texas, where he rose in the ranks, becoming the first African-American captain on the force. But despite his position, times were different.
It was an unwritten law that once that I left the black part of town, I couldn't arrest white people. And this was for years and years and years. No matter what the crime was, I couldn't do it.
And then came the 60s and race riots. Jackson says, you didn't see it in Amarillo. He wouldn't allow it.
The sheriff started allowing me to doing whatever I could to try to bring the races together and try to talk to them, and I did that, and it worked.
And along the way, one of his cases made the history books, Gunter versus State, one of the first tests on Miranda. Today, commendations and notes of thanks decorate Jackson's office.
The best, Jerry. And I'm really proud of that.
A long and proud career on the streets of Texas, in the courts of Las Vegas. Stony Jackson has always fought for justice.
This is it. This is all I've wanted to be all my life.
Denise Rosch, News 3.
All month long, News 3 will be featuring African Americans who are part of our local history. You can catch those special stories every Tuesday night this month on News 3 at 6. There are also many events scheduled around Las Vegas celebrating Black history. And of course, you can learn more about them by logging onto our website at www.kvbc.com.
What a fantastic story on Stony.
Interesting man.
And you said he's a very nice man as well.
Very nice. See him when I'm at the courthouse several times.
Oh, time now is 6:46.
And there's no reason to be squirmish. We'll show you an unusual attraction people are flocking to see.
Yipes.
Flocking is the key word.
Yipes. Then, of course, it's Mr. Food.
Mardi Gras is coming up soon, and we've got ways to jazz things up at home. Uh-huh.
Welcome back. Sunday morning.
It is a good Sunday morning also if we want to step on outside and show you how beautiful it is.
A little windy outside, as you can see that camera kind of shaking, and a little chilly too. Take a look. Check out that forecast. 39 degrees. Definitely need a coat if you're heading outside. Humidity 55%. Winds south 13 miles per hour. Barometer 29.94 and rising.
And for later on today, look for windy conditions. Those winds will be picking up again, as Miss Rachel Boesing told us. Wear a hat, wear some hairspray. High today 52, low 37.
Mardi Gras is coming up soon, and as Mr. Food shows us ways to jazz up things at home.
Mardi Gras will be in full swing later this month. The parades, the floats, the revelers, the food. And if we can't be there in person, we can jazz things up at home with some easy helpers that'll make everything taste Cajun authentic. Well, because with our busy lifestyles, you know, cooking a meal like jambalaya or gumbo from scratch, never mind finding all the ingredients, might just take too long. But with the variety of Cajun country favorites and seasonings at the market, we can take a few shortcuts and still turn out hearty meals fit for the celebration. Well, look. A quick sprinkling of any of these down in the bayou varieties like Creole seasoning or blackening spices on our fish or our chicken, and we're Cajun experts. We might want to try using dinner starter kits with rice or pasta and seasonings. I mean, on our stovetop or even faster, in the microwave, in no time. We have an entire family meal that we can maybe add our own fixings to, like some chunked chicken or ham or shrimp or sausage or any combo of them. And with all the brands and varieties to choose from today, we've got a Mardi Gras buffet full of true New Orleans favorites. And if we really want to jazz things up this time of year, pick up some Mardi Gras beads at the party store or check out the internet for more ideas. And we can celebrate the sights and the sounds and tastes of Mardi Gras all year long. It's almost as good as being there. Well, almost as good, because every mouthful is, oh, it's so good. Yeah.
One place you don't want to find yourself on Valentine's Day is in the doghouse, but that's where you'll end up if you don't get shopping right now, Ben Correa.
Okay.
Our can-do woman, Katlean de Monchy, has last-minute ideas for unique gifts that you can find for your special someone on the web.
Valentine's Day is a time to show special feelings not only to that special someone, but to everyone you love in your life. And now you can point and click your way to their hearts. Let's start with the tried and true way of celebrating the special day. At FTD.com, 24 traditional long-stem roses will leave a lasting and loving impression, and the bouquet can be delivered the same day. Or you can choose from more than 1,000 floral arrangements and special gifts like this teddy bear with Oreo cookies. So there's something for every price range. At Reflect.com, you can get special fragrances, and yes, fragrances are always very popular at this time of year. These are exquisite scents created by 3 of today's hottest stars, Kristen Davis, Allison Janney, and Daisy Fuentes. The full-size first spray is $40, and the sample size of each scent is $10. This is a gift that really has heart, because part of the proceeds go to the American Heart Association. So even if you don't have a sweetheart, it's something that you might want to consider giving to yourself. Now let's extend Valentine's Day beyond the traditional to include teachers and friends. What a better way than to bake. And at Tupperware.com, these 8-in-1 cookie cutters that are heart, moon, star shaped are available in a variety of sizes, and they come in an all-in-one container. So they're really adorable. And look how wonderful these cookies are, and what a special way to say thank you. The classic midgets are great for storing toppings. Now, if you're in the doghouse and you haven't given the right gift for the last couple years, here's a site that's going to make up for it. It's called luxlook.com. It's the first and only authorized luxury accessories website. All the designer names that you're familiar with, Versace, Moschino, Bulgari. Look at this beautiful ring, which is about $2,600. The coolest features, the shipping is free, and it comes in the designer bag, so it looks as if you were shopping on Rodeo Drive or Madison Avenue. So there you have it, a roundup of some of our favorite websites. For more details and tips on what to look for, go to CanDoWoman.com. Happy Valentine's Day.
And happy Valentine's Day to all of you out there.
Oh, yes.
With
If you don't have your gifts yet, we're going to be giving 2 of these away in just a moment from Ethel M. Chocolates. Thank you so much, Ethel M. Plus, some couples are out to prove Valentine's Day is all about the kiss.
Yes. Hey, oh, before we get to this real quick.
Sure.
3rd and 4th caller, right?
3rd and 4th caller.
You
coming
get
up.
these. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. They're trying to win a trip by kissing for the longest time.
Whoa.
What's last year's record for the longest kiss? Well, I'll find out next on News 3, where news comes first.
So passionate.
They look tired.
Tomorrow on News 3 at 5.
Because that helped my mom pay the rent.
It's a story that's all too common, a young person dropping out of high school. But that's not where the story has to end.
News 3 anchor reporter Kendall Tenney digs deeper and meets one woman who 25 years ago made one of the biggest mistakes of her life. Now she has the chance to change one girl's decision to call it quits. Will she make a difference? Watch tomorrow on News 3 at 5.
Welcome back. 3rd and 4th caller right now, 657, the number 3425. Beautiful chocolate from our wonderful friends at Ethel M's. Thank you so much. Absolutely. 3rd and 4th caller.
There is no better way to say I love you than to pucker up, and of course keep puckering up.
Sounds okay. Okay, couples in Indianapolis are competing in the longest kiss contest. The prize, a trip right here to Las Vegas just in time for Valentine's Day. How romantic.
Yeah.
The couples who managed to smooch for the longest time will go see singer Bon Jovi at the MGM Grand. Then get married at the Elvis Wedding Chapel with Bon Jovi, serenading them, the happy couple. You're looking at the video from the contest, and they're kissing so passionately. Last year, the winning couple kissed for more than 7 straight hours. Talk about needing some certs. Tic Tacs. You never know.
They look tired. What if you don't want to get married?
What if you want to go to Las Vegas, though, and see Bon Jovi?
Well, I mean, that's always a bonus. Going to the MGM, going, you know, seeing Bon Jovi. But what if you don't want to get married?
I don't know.
I don't know. How fun, though. I mean,
Crazy
it's a great
couples.
trip.
Yeah. Stepping outside right now, let's take a final look at your forecast right now. A little windy outside, live from our Fitzgerald camera. Clear, 39 degrees, humidity 55%. Wind south, I should say 13 miles per hour, barometer 29.94 and rising. And today, windy.
Windy, windy, windy. High 52, low 37. And we already have winners.
Thanks for watching those winners, yeah.
Congratulations, Mona Nielsen and Mary Ann Wollner.
Thanks.
This is a great gift.
Yes.
Will you get me one?
I will. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and have a great Sunday.
Have a good morning, everyone. You will?
Sure. Here.